Greetings and welcome to Die Drug and Die presents Titan's Gift. I'm your demon host Marty, joined by the Seattle crew of Neil, Matt, Gene, and Luke. How is everyone doing? Hey! And we were just laughing about Luke doing AMSR and how we're going to rub our beards against the mics for subs. Right. And now we are bitching about, the fortress of solitude that most of us are in as we've worked from home for over a week.
We need to get these cats out there.
Yeah, none of us are going to the office or doing anything outside the office.
Yeah.
People outside of Seattle might not know this, but...
What was that, Matt?
It's hard to know what day it is, or what time it is.
Yeah.
The rhythms of the day are not the same.
I don't mind working from home. I find I'm very efficient when I do so. It's the not leaving the apartment afterwards that really sucks. The last time I went to a bar to have a beer was 11 days ago, and then 8 days ago I did groceries. And then I was like, no! As a maintenance guy came into my apartment today to change a fire alarm or something, I was like, no! Get away!
Did you follow after with the Clorox wipes?
No, I let him in, but then I ran up the stairs. I kind of talked to him down the stairs. It was amusing. Funny. Yeah, going a little squirrely. How about you guys? So Neil, it sounds like it's affecting Neil. Matt doesn't know what time it is. Gene,
how you doing up there?
I'm good.
Your company still working, or are you working from home?
I was in the office today, but I mean, my company is not very large. It's under 10 people, so today I guess there were 2 in the office, including myself. Got it.
All the toilet paper.
Dude, hand sanitizer is crazy. I tried to get some. I've tried a couple weekends in a row. It's gone.
Amazon, it'll ship to you in a month. You can see some.
You can try and order it. Just
right.
Cancels it and says sorry. We're
$17 for a bottle, and it'll come to you in a month. It's like what?
The price hikes are crazy.
The thing for me that I just can't not do is I fidget. I touch my face all the time. I can't not do it. If the average person touches their face 100 times, like they say, I probably do 300 times.
Yeah.
I'm constantly like,
yeah. It's so
it's a little weird.
You're 3 standard deviations away from the noise.
Yeah. There's normal people and Neil. I'm the outlier.
You've got a beard. You touch the beard. It's hard not to touch the beard.
Down. And when you do touch your face, just hang on.
That counts as 1? Is that what you're saying?
Still one.
Oh man.
You can work in a nose itch in there.
Absolutely. See that's how you optimize. We're power gaming now.
Yeah, working smart, not hard.
Got it.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the more things from your mouth or your hands, because you touch things, get into your nose or your mouth. Mucous membranes, I think.
Science, dude. No one really knows.
I'm still a techie and not an expert on this, so I don't know. My career hasn't changed in the last, week.
Yeah, it hasn't changed what I've done at work, basically.
Yeah, I think
really
actually Seattle's in a really good position to be the place this hits first, because so much of the city is just people who can work from home, and we've got pretty there's a bunch of big hospitals in the city here, so there's some buffer to absorb some of this stuff, and people seem like they're sort of staying in as much as they can.
For small
we're
bit.
Pretty sheltered out here in the winter anyway.
See, you're saying that tech companies have already just killed small business Seattle anyway. So
Seattle's already filled with a bunch of people who hide
awful.
away from each other in the winter because they're
awful.
introverts. And...
yeah. Anyways,
Okay,
why don't
Marty,
we...
I can't see map tools in the channel. Is it? Is there
No.
something you have to do?
You connect directly.
No. I know I can't. I'm just saying people in the Twitch chat can't see the map tools.
Oh.
It's black right now. It just says 1080p source.
But is it?
It is.
New loot.
Foxfire saying, it's hard to come across with a light-hearted tone through a text. Yeah, that is hard. That's why fights through text is always fun to do.
Map tools is there. Everyone should see the Cactus Express. I can force you guys to that view. Why don't we do a recap what happened last game? Last game was called Bric-a-Brac. Aboard the Cactus Express, the Sword Saint Oogway tracks his quarry, the murderous Skellerknot brothers of Fiddler Shiv. Oogway runs into the Jerks Emeritus hiding in the cattle car. The Skellerknot brothers have tampered with a powerful ward that guards the train. One of the Jerks and one of the brothers jumps from the train before it enters the ethereal realm between the pearls. And something from the void takes notice. We left off basically as one of the Skellerknot brothers had dug up something from one of the beneath the floorboards or the tiles of one of the cattle cars, or this is the cargo car. You guys surmised with your skills that whatever it was powered some sort of powerful ward that warded against evil outsiders in the same way that a protection from evil spell would. You don't know the extent of the damage. You do know that the crucial piece of it, however, strapped to the back of one of the korred brothers, is not on the same plane as you at the moment, as that particular korred brother decided instead of dying at your hands, he would try his fate jumping from the train. Check whether he heard Pharisee or misinterpreted what she wanted, jumped after Brick for the item that his queen wanted to possess. So he is no longer aboard the train. It appears that Zephyros and this Rakastan Magus know each other. There wasn't much time to really explain, but they called each other friend, at least. For you, Neil, because you weren't here, there was a brief time where, we'll say like a semester kind of thing, where Oogway and you trained underneath Telamon, your now deceased master. Oogway's family, you know, they were into prospecting and mining and only had enough coin to pay for Oogway's semester. It appears from watching him fight, however, that he is a magus of sorts. You can give me a knowledge arcana as you kind of pause for a moment to think about it a little bit deeper. You are the only one that gets to do this because you actually have the context of how he was trained.
Okay. It's coming in the chat. 18.
He's a magus. His spells, however, you remember that he was a little bit different than you, and you felt a little bit frustrated where you had to write your spells out and learn them from spell books. He doesn't. His mage's powers come from his blood. He's like the sorcerer. A sorcerer is to a wizard like his form of being a magi is to your magi.
Ooh. So
That's
I
pretty
tell my party. I just comment so that they understand what I know.
Okay. Zephyros is after the fight. The spells are still running. There are a couple of dead bodies. You managed to knock Brack out, who had run into one of the animal cages. I think. Was it Son that knocked him out? I forget how he got knocked out, but he's definitely stable at this point, as he's no longer bleeding out along the floor. Oogway has wandered over to to see what the Skellerknot brothers were up to. And I think are you tying up this korred? How are you keeping him? Basically, what are you doing at this point?
I think I stabilized him.
Yep.
I don't think he's even conscious yet.
Nope, he is not conscious. You know that it'll take him some time before he will become conscious. Probably hours.
I think I pull out a rope, and because I'm sure I still have some left, and yeah, just actually, do I have any left?
While you're looking at that, Pharisee, what are you doing?
I think I'm going to spend as much time as I can researching kind of how the ward that was removed is connected to the other cars.
Okay.
Are any of the cars safe, or is the whole system shot?
You mean by investigating? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay, so where are you going to go look?
Yes. I am going to go look. I'm going to look in the hole, and I'm going to see if there's anything that connects the hole to anything in any other direction. Like, are there lines of silver or...
Yeah, so picture like a really gigantic electronic circuit board. And at the center, there's sort of like a center node, and this is where that stone got lifted into, and you're kind of like, something was here and it powered it. And you actually do see a mixture of what, you're not too sure what metal it is. It is shiny, though. We'll call it silverish. And that tracery kind of leads out underneath the tiles of the train in all directions. And there are some thicker bands that go down the middle, like along the middle of the train lengthwise. Okay. You'll have to pull up the floor to see where they go.
I think I'm gonna try first checking the.
It looked like they took a sledgehammer and like broke open some of these tiles and were like looking for it, and then once they found it, they kind of spent some time. You could see they put a couple of wedges between some of the connection points, and then like pulled the stone out.
All right. In that case, I think what I want to do is investigate the connection between cars.
Okay, so Uguay was thinking about something. He sees that you're kind of like you came, you looked, you're gone, and he's still standing there scratching his head. Do we know what that is?
It's a ward of some sort that protects the train from evil outsiders. I'm not sure if it's. I would guess that there's one in every car. That didn't look like a special car otherwise. But I don't know how they're connected together.
Outside of what? And you realize you're using words that he may not be well versed in.
Out in the ether. We're between the planes.
There are
And in
things.
between the planes, things leak in.
There are things out there. I thought they were just stories.
They're just stories because every time you travel, you're protected by one of those stones. I think maybe those cars are safe and those cars are safe and just this one is dangerous. Maybe all of the cars have to have a stone. I want to see if they're connected together, and then I want to see if there's anything special about the end of the train.
I think that is a good place to start. If there's something special about the end of the train,
Okay.
then there would be only one stone.
Zafira sticks his massive head out the smaller door and is kind of yelling, chatting about magic stuff with you guys over the sound of the train. Now, the train doesn't really have metal tracks. It's almost like the tracks are conjured just in time. Like they're like magic that is conjured just in time. Every once in a while, you do go through like a big metal ring that marks the path of the ethereal line. You probably, if you're on the roof, want to duck when you go through the rings. It's hard to tell, but it's like every few miles there's a ring. So you're seeing like kind of like magical tracks. You think that there might be like force magic that is being conjured underneath the wheels.
Do we feel it at all, or does it just feel like a smooth ride?
It's smoother than a metal track, which the train does go on when it's in the corporeal planes. It is much smoother though. Like there's sort of like a flash, more so light than anything else.
And does it make a sound when we go through the rings?
Yes, it does. It still makes a sound. You've got metal on force magic as opposed to metal on metal. It makes
no. What I mean is when the train goes through the rings, does it make a sound? Do we hear it? Because when the train goes like through a tunnel, you can hear the sounds different.
Yeah, there is sound. There is sort of a like almost like a metallic ping as each of the trains go through. Like a really low ping. There's sound in the ethereal space. Like there's air. You guys can breathe. Like there's no worry.
Are we on top of the train at the moment?
No, you guys are between two train cars talking to each other.
Okay.
This is an animal car, and then it goes to the car where you guys were hiding, where the professor conjured cows to trick guards. At this point in time, Professor, the guards have wandered away. Like he seems like, oh, it's the cattle car, and these two guards wander off.
My illusions will sort of dissipate. I've got sort of an eye on a cow, or I'm staying sort of in the doorway so the hand can keep the cow going.
Yep.
And trying to see what's going on back there, because it sounds like the fight has ended.
The fight has ended. You could see them all kind of standing around. The frilled surprise, you could see sparking every once in a while. You could see Zephyros is like leaning his head to the car even behind the one where the fight took place, and they're all talking. Give me an architecture. This is for Pharisee, an architecture engineering roll or a perception check as you're looking for where does the tracery go.
I'll let the cow thing illusion linger, and I'll go back there. It seems like the fight's over. The guards have left. I'll go see what's going on.
Okay.
I'll use perception. 27.
If you have 5 ranks in knowledge architecture, I give you a synergy of +2.
I have none.
Okay.
That's one of the ones that I haven't put a point into yet. And since I'm a bard, I've been kind of relying on
you
bard stuff.
You look underneath, and what you end up seeing is that there is a little tiny bit of the silver, kind of like if this is like a platform, this piece.
Yeah.
Looking underneath, there's a tiny bit of silver. It seems like maybe all the silver tracery kind of comes to a node or a confluence, and then there's this weird cable that has been welded onto the connection points.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of slack, and you see that the cable has got like a rubber around it or some other material that is hiding the silver. But where there's slack, there's actually like a weird plug. where you could see the silver again underneath the rubbery tube.
Let's detect magic on this junction.
Okay. There's a lot of magic. There is the just the faint magic of being in the ethereal plane itself. There is the quite potent evocation magic that the train is running on top of. And you do see that there is abjuration magic that seems to be flowing. Yeah, very interesting. It is flowing in the way that, almost like a tap water. It is flowing from the cart that Zephyros is on into the cart that you're standing in. And it seems to be dissipating as it's kind of flowing in. Like it's almost like the cart you're on is draining the cart next to it.
What's going on back here?
It's yes.
Gross. What is it? You're blocking the door.
Come take a look here, Professor.
I'll squeeze past Zephyros's mighty girth.
Yep.
And come.
You're the intelligent one.
In the middle of this car, the hole contained a stone, and that stone was stolen by one of the brothers who jumped off the train with it. That stone was a protective ward against evil outsiders. That ward is connected through a network of sort of silvery lines, a circle of protection, as it were, but a net covering this car. And the cars are connected together with these cables. The protective magic isn't in this car anymore, but it is in the car you came from, and it's flowing out, because this car is broken.
Ooh, I see. I will start detecting.
I'm curious if the car after this one is also broken, or how that works.
Well, what do you think the chances of this train car having a manual are? I'll say as I cast Page-Bound Epiphany to see if in...
That is awesome.
That will explain safety protocols. So I guess I'm going to ask it, what are the stones, or what happens if I remove this stone from the back car? Let's just ask, see what the manual has to say. So I'll get a +7 on that.
So you're asking, if you were a conductor, what is the procedure if a stone malfunctions? Okay.
Yeah, and if it doesn't have the answer to that, like in an FAQ section, I'm hoping the book will like fill in with the manual pages about this ward system.
Your spell is almost the reason why, if you ever play a modern role-playing game, you play a modern role-playing game before the internet has been invented. or you make the internet bad, like demons live in it, so you don't use it. It's like my character goes to a computer and starts. All right. and all right. Okay, so this is actually a really novel use of the spell, given that you are in the ethereal realm.
Yeah, I don't know what books would be here or what access to knowledge, but I'm guessing
the
train car.
Word again the question.
What happened? What do you do if the stone is removed from the back car?
Okay.
What's the procedure for this on the train?
Yep.
What knowledge check would this be?
This would probably be planes. I would also give it knowledge, architecture, engineering. It could also be. It also could be knowledge, local, Grand Station.
I'm going for the manual hard here, so I'm going to do an engineering one at.
Okay.
32.
All right. So the protocol is this: if you notice that a stone is not functioning, this is a priority 0 repair. That the actual car needs to be taken out of service at either the next terminal station or the next or in Grand Station itself. It has to be, and it will be isolated. Report this to your superior.
Report.
If the stone is missing from the caboose, you should cancel your trip immediately and follow the same protocols. If the stone is missing from the engine, this is a very bad situation, and you should makes reference to a procedure that the train engineer would perform, and you get from the titles of the procedure that you basically excise one of the stones from a different one and replace it into the engine's compartment.
Do I get to, like, it sounds like it's ride to the next stop, then detach this train because it's compromised.
Correct.
Does it give me a sense of, like, is the protection overall down, or?
No, it called it a priority 0 repair issue that you immediately report to your superior, and you get these kind of general steps. It's a manual. It doesn't.
I will close my book.
You do see some like exclamation points inside of triangles and stuff like that, like sort of like warning. you get the sense that it's not good.
It's like when you look at your car manual, you see all those indicators that you never see, and you have no
idea. From the question that you asked, which was not exactly the question you asked, you surmise that the integrity of the field can be compromised if too many. Yeah, like it's like somebody's describing. They didn't get into the theory of electricity in order to describe how to use the electrical thing. It's a manual.
Well, ladies, gentlemen, it appears we have a bit of a problem. We may need to reveal our presence on this train to report this outage. I will say, as I point to the now blank book, as if it is of any help to anyone.
I see. What are you talking about?
It appears that the field has been compromised, as I believe Pharisee you suspected already. The protocol in this procedure is to detach this car at the next stop and report it to our superiors.
Okay.
I think they take this thing very seriously.
So let's report it to Mokranum.
Huh?
Yes, Mokranum. You're running this, aren't you?
What?
First, what did you say?
What's at the end of the train?
Oh, I don't know. Shall we have a look?
Let's go take a look.
Okay, you are in the second last car of the train. I just need to look at how a caboose is shaped.
So is Zephyros in the last car of the train?
Zephyros is second to last, I think.
And then the professor is in the last car, because we're in two different cars.
Right.
No, the last car is not revealed yet.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
I was back here with Pharisee, and then I was gonna start walking over when everybody sounded like we were turning to leave. I guess if nobody's behind me yet, I'll stop and investigate this area where it got removed.
Oh yes, I will follow along. See, you can see some of the silver lines coming in here.
Hmm.
And I looked under the train. They go all around the car.
I see.
This car is not protected, Professor. I suggest that we move quickly.
It seems as though that there will be a shared current from the other cars. They put a lot more emphasis on the stone that powers the engine car. In the event of an emergency involving that stone, the advice is to replace it with another one from a different car, implying that these stones exist in all of the cars and create something of a magical conduit between each other.
Interesting. Very interesting. How many cars are there still?
Oh, this next one seems to maybe be the last one. We've seen what? 1, 2, 3.
Okay, this car is a little less inviting than the others. It has a large metal door.
Less inviting than the cattle car.
Yeah, it has a large metal door.
Inviting to cattle, at least.
It's cozy.
No, really. They really aren't.
There's a large metal door. There is like a shutter on the window. It does look like it might be locked, and it definitely has like the feel that it's much more fortified than the other cars. It also, like the cargo car, looks like there's a way to walk around the interior of the car. Actually, that might be the exterior. There is not one. There isn't a way to walk around the caboose.
Walk around on the outside?
Yep. The cargo car, actually, if I get my pointer back, where is it?
Okay,
You could walk.
yeah,
You could
I
walk
see.
outside the cargo car.
Interesting.
Yeah. Tech had gone up on top of the car and then came through the back and was like trying to hunt down the others. This car definitely looks heavier, more fortified, and might actually have a locked door.
I'll investigate the magical circuitry going on the bottom here and see, is there current running through the dead car into this car?
There is magic that is pouring from the caboose into this car, but it seems to be dissipating quickly.
It seems to be draining the other cars, I see.
Yes, that makes sense, doesn't it? Sort of like water flowing around through the system and
Yes.
spilling out in that hole.
It will try
Marty,
Mm-hmm.
while that's happening, I'm trying to remember. I know that Son saw that that Tech has jumped off
Yep.
to get the stone, and I know that Son knows that the ward has been broken.
Yep.
Does Son have any way of knowing the two are related?
You've heard them all talking. You've been standing 10 feet away from them, so sure.
I mean, right now they're like.
Oh, they were talking within earshot of you.
Okay, so Son,
Oogway is actually undressing Bruck and kind of like taking off his equipment and stuff, and he's actually putting the body of Bruck into a very big bag. kind of like put his hands around himself, sort of stuffing one of the guys into a bag.
Son glances at that. He knows that Oogway is a bounty hunter, so it makes sense. So Son decides to bitch slap Brack until he wakes up.
Okay, well, he's unconscious because he's injured, so you give him a slap. If you slap him hard enough, he'll start bleeding again.
Fair enough. Well, so Son has stabilized him, but hasn't healed him.
Correct.
Fair enough. So Son has 50 feet of rope, and some experience from his youth. So he That's a beard. So he ties. Actually, doesn't need rope. He takes the beard.
Mm-hmm.
And he ties the beard to the bars that are like,
Yep.
yes, in that direction.
Okay, so so he's you tie his beard to the bars.
Yeah. So now that has been stabilized in that way, Son tries to heal him to the point where he'd be able to wake up.
Okay, are you using magic or non-magical healing?
The healing skill.
Got it. So give me a heal check, and the DC, I think the higher you roll, the more you heal.
Yeah, and I'm not using the healing kit.
Okay, so don't add that bonus.
I'll be right back.
Go ahead.
So you are treating deadly wounds, which is DC 20. The other way of healing him is long-term care, which means in like 8 hours he'll get lots of hit points back.
No, this is like a relatively medium thing.
Okay. So DC 20, you get a 31. You if you exceed by 5 or more, you add your wisdom modifier to this amount. He gets...
That's 4.
You have a +4 wisdom?
Yeah.
So he gets his level +4, and this is a korred. He gets 8 hit points back. Okay, so he sputters awake. He's prone, because you tied his beard to the bars.
So I bitch slap him.
You notice that your slaps,
Wow. Surely so that you could do more damage to him.
Yes.
your slaps, like, he just seems to take it. Like,
Good.
his flesh is really leathery and strong.
Fair enough. I wave over the frilled surprise.
Okay, it happily kind of makes a little chirp as it goes up to you.
So I try to indicate to the frilled surprise that he should shock Brack.
You're using the shocker lizard as a cattle prod against Brack. All right,
Yes.
how much damage does the shocker lizard do?
It's like a D6, I think.
D8.
Non-lethal. Reflex.
He gets a reflex save, so he could try to wiggle out of the way.
Well, reflex halves it.
Mm-hmm. All right, give me a D8.
4.
His hair stands up on end. He doesn't like it.
What do you want? What do you want, laddie?
Why did you remove the stone?
What
From the car?
stone?
And he winces. Like he fully expects the answer to result in pain.
It does. So,
Come on, buddy. Do your thing. Okay, give me another D4.
D8.
Oh, D8, yeah, sorry.
3.
Okay. You're guessing with your healing ability, you do that again, he's probably going to pass out.
Fair enough.
At this point, he looks like he's just sort of drooling and trying to stay awake.
So, I shocked him again. So I'm like, I grab his beard and like.
Okay, there's something weird about his beard. You notice that his beard was slowly untying itself. And when you touched his beard, it felt like the hairs underneath the part where you saw were actually moving and working the beard open. Like his hair has a mind of its own, is basically. And you actually have to pull your hands back to like keep from the hairs twisting around your knuckles.
You never touch a korred's beard.
Okay. I
His
take
his
that advice.
his head actually kind of like knocks against the floor when his own beard untied the knot that you tied in, and he's having a hard time. He got beat up, sliced open, and now he's being electrocuted.
So I shock him again I tell the Frill Surprise to shock him again to like knock him unconscious.
Okay. Frill Surprise like squeaks, and you're kind of handling the animal, and eventually it lets off a shock, and oh yeah.
I'm good at that time.
He made his save, but four non-lethal damage did knock him out.
Okay. So when I knock him out, I actually take the rope that I have. I have 50 feet of rope.
Okay.
And I, like tie him up to the thing.
To the bars?
Yeah, to the bars. And after I do that, I look into inspect his beard to see if, what the fuck was going on.
Yeah, you kind of look around his beard. His beard is like some of the braids in his beard are slowly unbraiding themselves, while other strands of his beard are slowly braiding themselves.
While he's unconscious. I wave over.
You actually just turn around and like wave over Zephyros. You see Oogway is standing there. His arms are crossed and he's watching you.
And so I wave over Oogway as well. It's like,
yep.
You know what the fuck's going on here?
I know he's dangerous.
Not anymore, he isn't.
Oogway gives you a look like, okay, but
Zephyros also walks up and he's looking at the situation, but I'm guessing doesn't just know. Maybe a knowledge arcana or a knowledge something?
A knowledge nature, actually.
Knowledge nature?
Yeah.
I feel like I can assist with that.
He's one of the Skellernaut brothers, a Fiddler Shiv, some horrible backwater in Bostera.
Fiddler Shiv is such a good name.
Yeah.
Inspired by, I was like, what's Bostera like? Bostera is like the Old West. What's the Old West like? Red Dead Redemption. I remember there like being really cool, like town names there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, exactly. This one just kind of, I just started typing and it just kept on flowing.
It's good when that happens.
Nice one.
They're wanted dead or alive for murder, larceny, illegal hangings, and torture. There's $1,000 for that one. $1,000 for the one I got bagged over there. The other one jumped off the train, the bastard.
Did you say torture?
Yes. I've seen some of their handiwork.
Is he good?
Oogway like cracked his neck, and you can tell Oogway may not like torture.
Zephyros rolled a 33.
No one really does.
33 for knowledge. Nature. Give me a second.
And I.
You know that this thing is a korred, which is a type of fae. You know that that fae tend to be resistant to damage that you need cold iron. These particular fae have mild spell resistance, like they're even resistant to spells. 10, 15, 20.
And I can help him with a knowledge nature.
Yeah, you can aid, which would actually learn one more thing.
Right.
25. You know that these guys have the ability to laugh and make everyone around them stunned. In fact, one of them did that last combat, and they all have this ability. You know that they have some spell-like abilities, the most powerful one is that they can speak to stones in a spell called Stone Tell.
That's cool.
Okay.
You
So-
gain the ability to speak with stones with which which relate to you or what has touched them, as well as revealing what is covered or concealed behind or under them. They can just do this once per day or whatever. They have
I approve, man. I'd like to add that to my
And the-
tree top ability.
and then your last thing is that they have command over ropes.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. Except I just tied him with a rope.
And what did you roll to aid?
What was the aid in my roll?
Yeah, what was your aid to give me a knowledge nature, Gene? For Son.
17.
So you aided, you got 35, which is one more piece of information. One of their other spell-like abilities, which is at will, is Stone Shape.
Which does what?
Allows you to move stone around like it's putty.
Right. So none of this told us anything about his beard.
The beard might just be like his mastery of ropes. It could also extend to hair and twine and thread.
So I kind of look at Uguay, look at Son, and like, so we'll kill him eventually. But let's not do it yet. Let's try and figure out why he pulled that stone out.
I'm interested in knowing who hired him.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
think we have to tape his mouth so
all
he
good
doesn't laugh.
questions. I'm sorry?
I think we have to tape his mouth so that he doesn't laugh. He can stun us by laughing.
Fair enough.
Do you think those ropes are safe?
No.
No.
Okay,
I don't think-
Uguay takes out a set of iron manacles, and
You just happen to have those with you?
he has on his character sheet.
Hunters, nice.
He has a single set of masterwork manacles with good lock and key for medium or small creatures. So he takes out some manacles and he kind of pulls the guy's arms out and connects the manacles together. The manacles have a loop.
Could we do it so that his hands are behind the bar and he can't run away?
Yep, you could lock him up behind. You could lock him up. Basically, the ropes are all around him, but you put his arms behind the bar. Uguay just gives you a nod, like that seems to be safe. You pull off his club, and there's all sorts of weird little like bird skulls that are kind of like that act like beads in his weird beard. He's got I guess their gear.
How do you gag a guy that has command over ropes?
Each of their clubs is magical. They've got a minor magical club, so 2 clubs. Makranam has already eaten 200 feet of their rope, but they each have another coil of 50-foot silk rope. I don't know if anyone's marking this down.
No, I'm not. I'm just listening.
I have it on my. I have 50 feet of silk rope on my.
Okay,
character sheet.
I'll just write this quickly down in the treasure sheet while I'm saying it. Okay, to identify, we've got 2 coils of silk rope. You've got 2 plus 1 clubs. you have. They've got 2 masterwork cold iron sickles. Those are kind of like half moon bladed single hand weapons. They have thieves' tools. We'll call them masterwork thieves' tools. And I'm going to give you a single roll from a magical treasure table representing maybe something they looted earlier or they had a special item amongst them. 3 CR4s would be like a CR5. So give me a D3.
Who's rolling it? You do it, Gene?
You go ahead.
First.
Two.
2. Okay, so it's a 5th level item. Give me a D100.
14.
14. Okay, one of their weapons is a bit more powerful than the other. And then another percentile.
59.
Okay, one of their clubs is radiating a bit of necromancy in addition to the evocation of the club.
Fair enough. But,
Okay, Oogway has put all that stuff off to the side. He seems to be content at this point that this Brack has been tied up.
right. So, Son asks, I guess, Oogway, alright, so we got him tied up. We got him really disarmed completely. I know he can control ropes, as Zephyr said, but I mean, he's like shackled with metal. That's not a rope. Presumably, you know, we have him like safely restrained.
What did you get? What did you gag him with?
I don't think we gagged him.
We haven't gagged him.
Okay, Oogway now rips off a bit of leather material from, you know, scraps of their clothing and stuffs it into Brack's mouth.
Fair enough.
And then how do we tie it around the kid?
I guess we can't use rope then.
Maybe we could use another piece of leather and just tie it around his head.
Okay, yeah, Oogway pulls apart some of their leather clothing and just ties a leather strap around his mouth, hoping that.
Ooh. Do we have a bag?
Yeah.
He goes over and finds like a feed bag.
Let's pull that over his head also.
Okay, you pull this burlappy feed bag. It looks really itchy, and kind of just tie it around his head.
The Pharaoh looks at Son and says, "Do you have a water skin?"
It's like the bag. It's for keeping. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, Mocker, you got it.
And yes, I do have a water skin.
Good.
What do you want to do with it?
When he's awake.
Okay.
Oogway just strides away to see what the others are up to. And where are they? They're still standing in front of the caboose. Yep.
Yeah, so we observed the magic draining out of this, and Farisay remarked that it was like water flowing out of a system, which I think has the professor thinking that this may be draining the system and leaving us weaker in light of what he's seen and read. You
also notice a bit of other magic that I didn't really describe, but in between the cars, there is a mechanism that locks the two cars together, right? There seems to be a arcane lock on that mechanism.
To keep it
So even if you had, even if you were able to separate it, you'd still need magic to get it undone.
Pharisee, your comments about the magic flowing out of a hole like water, it's got me thinking. Perhaps there's something we could do with the hole they left to sort of patch it, not restore a source of power, but maybe perhaps make it so it doesn't drain, stabilize.
Perhaps. Yeah, where would we find materials to do that, though?
And it seems like it's made of metal. This this
something.
Right?
It's silvery. I don't know if it's silver per se.
I'll bend down and inspect and see if I can tell what the material that sort of veins through these cars and transmits the magic is made of.
Okay, so you're gonna go and have a look where it's mostly exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a craft weapons or armor check, or an appraise, or something crafty.
Oh
yeah.
I can help on the appraise or
appraise is my I got plus 23 with this. I'll clutch my monocle and I will close my eye and examine it with Pharisay over my. What is that?
Do you close the eye behind the monocle?
Pixel does say as you guys were moving away from there, she says, "I think there's somebody in the back caboose."
Yes, we might even want to just ask them to help on this one.
Yes.
They don't know that we are not passengers. Probably.
Plus 2 on an 8. It's been so long, I forgot.
Yep.
33. On what the metal is?
It is a mixture of metals called an alloy.
Some kind of alloy.
The alloy does consist of part silver and part cold iron.
Silver and cold iron.
Mixed with something else. Might even be lead.
How
Does
interesting.
it seem like there's, like you said, there's a bunch of lines, big and small, coming off this thing?
Yep.
Is there a way to, bridge the gap between the big lines? Is there a lot of big lines that if I got, say, a cold steel sword, I just happen to have one, or a silver sword, I could
kind of jam it in between the two?
Yeah, and maybe try and, jury rig this thing to hold together a little?
Yeah, you could try to patch it up. Do you have you need at least a foot and a half of cold iron, or whatever you think is appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, the professor's gonna have to ponder this one. I think maybe while he's thinking about it, he might be distracted by, it sounds like maybe Pixel and Pharisay were going to investigate in the back or something.
Yeah, I think after you've taken a look at it, I'm definitely going to go back to the caboose, and I think I'm just going to knock on the door.
Okay, I am building a token. You did it faster than I could.
No problem.
Give me a second. I need a name. This will be. What does he have? There we go. Nice slobbery one. Stop searching. I got the token.
Guys, how much stuff of ours was Tech carrying when he jumped off the train? Because he has the muleback cord boots, so... I mean, Zephyros carries a lot because he's a giant elephant creature, but...
We'll take a look at our treasure and see if there's anything really heavy or bulky in there. I think he probably has, I think the heavy bulky stuff I actually put in his character sheet. Like, he's got a couple of big tusks.
Okay, okay.
And like horns and things like that.
So conceivably, these like Masterwork Cold Iron Trident and spare weapons, or the Masterwork Cold Iron Throwing Axe, those might still be around on Zephyros or something.
Yeah, my thoughts on that stuff is that if we got it in previous adventures and stopped by home, we probably left it at home.
Yeah,
if it's in the pile.
There's some stuff from home specifically that is listed at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess it depends. How long ago did we?
I need a good.
Trident.
I need a good dog name.
My dog's name is Kefir. Here, let me bring a dog.
What's that?
Rover's a classic.
Rover?
Rover. Yeah.
Rover is
Or
And that didn't seem.
Rufus. My grandma used to tell us she had a dog in the basement called Rufus to keep us out of the basement, and I believe that, like, for a lot into my life.
And in fact, when you got older, you learned it was just a gimmick.
Okay, so you're knocking on the door, and immediately you hear kind of like a roof, roof. You hear like a heavy, deep dog's bark.
Woof woof yourself. Go get your master.
Woof woof. Apparently, it's not smart. It doesn't understand common.
I'll just keep knocking.
Okay. Eventually, you hear like a door slam or kind of like shutter open and closed, and what is it? What is it?
Yeah.
Huh? What are you doing back here?
Yes. So some of the passengers got rowdy, and the guards have asked me to come back and tell you that the rowdy passengers ripped up the floor and took one of those stone things, then jumped off the train.
I will see this guy and hear having this conversation and come forward and try and throw down the words directly from the manual at him.
Okay.
I just don't feel safe in here anymore.
The dwarf, he does have a Turk station uniform on. He's not a guard. He's more so like some sort of engineer. He does reek of whiskey.
He probably doesn't know who was invited on and who was not.
Yeah,
it
it looks like he was sleeping.
Pixel's got tickets even.
Yep.
Are you comfortable with the dude that's supposed to be driving the train sleeping and drunk? on the
in the
job.
back, all the way in the back.
The fact that makes me feel like home.
The big dog kind of barks up at Pixel, who goes dancing like high up so she can't be eaten, and then just turns to Pharisee and.
This is like the 7th animal in a row that tries to eat Pixel.
Animals eat bugs, dude. An animal sees a bug, they're gonna play with it and then probably eat it or eat it.
I'm not saying it's questionable.
Rover just.
I don't think you need me to, but I think it might be something we should do.
Rover gives Pharisee a big lick, like.
Yes.
Also something that Alan would try to do.
Senior engineer.
Show me the problem.
Yes, follow me.
How do you say his name?
Jopus?
In Russian, that means asses.
Does it?
No.
Like multiple of asses. Multiple of a single ass.
Maybe he's Russian.
There.
He is in
be a hole.
the train.
In fact, I saw the guys with the stone jump off the train.
They jumped off,
Yes,
Yep.
before the gate, I believe.
Wait, who are you?
They're back in.
Who are you? You're funny looking halfling.
That's the professor. He's
yeah,
just old.
Is I think probably at this moment, if not shortly before,
he
I will
kinda-
return to normal size.
Before you turn to normal size, he sort of reaches out to like the top of your head and sort of like measures to his own chest.
Huh.
And slowly, as his hand's on my head, I expand back to normal. Oh, yes, pardon me, I will say as I
Fuck.
remove his hand.
He sits down on one of the trunks.
There wasn't a worm in the bottle.
Yeah. Well, you see, sir, according to the manual, this is a priority zero issue.
Okay, Rover is now just sniffing Henry. Perhaps he senses like one of your material components might be something good to eat, and is just like nosing into you. We're talking like a 5 foot long, 120-pound dog kind of thing. Like just.
Yes. Yes. Good dog. I will do a ghost sound on the like back corner of like a cat meowing to sort of distract him away. Oh, what's that? Oh, there's a cat in here.
Okay. Yeah, you send Rover like tipping over crates and running after something.
Stupid cat. Shouldn't have gone on board. So who fucking did this?
Some brothers, some local thieves from the last stop, I believe.
Yeah.
There's a bounty hunter who's searching for them.
Korred. Some very angry Korred.
And what are you two doing back here?
Oh, well, it seems staff is a bit short. We were trying to help get this resolved. The guards asked us to come get you to take a look. I'll say, looking at Pharisee questionably, like, is this...
Give me a bluff check.
If it's a problem or not, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's a hole.
he's sitting there looking at it, and he seems to be recovering from being roused from his drunken slumber.
Is Pharisee make this, or I guess I am? Does she get to aid and try and help me in spinning this yarn?
She can aid.
Yeah, I auto-aid. I'm actually quite good at bluffing.
Yeah. 27. Whew.
Nice.
The guards did, huh? Guards don't know nothing about trains. Nothing.
I
Nothing.
just knew that the Korred sort of bandit guys were back here. Yeah, there was a bounty hunter also. He's further up. He knows
Bandits?
more about them.
Bounty hunter? The guards can take care of them. That's their job.
Yeah. What about this hole? Is
Uh,
that, your job?
Yeah, where'd the stone go? And he points at, like, the obvious thing that's missing.
Yeah, man, it's in Bostera. The guy took it, put it on his back, and jumped off the train.
Oh.
Perhaps we could use some cold iron or silver to reconnect these conduits. I'll say, pointing.
No, I gotta bring this car in for repairs, get it replaced. It's not easy to get replaced. A bunch of priests need to go hub on top of it or something like that. Pretty.
I'd like to point out that my brother-in-law literally repairs trains, and it pretty much looks exactly like that.
Pseudo-realism.
It does look like a bunch of priests going blah 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 blah.
Rover then crashes into a bunch of crates looking for this mysterious cat. So he doesn't seem, it doesn't like the end of the sky isn't falling towards this dwarf, but he obviously he's looking at the hole.
So
Are we in any danger, sir?
there's stories. There was a train that went missing.
Oh, delightful.
It was called the Direption. Yep.
Recently?
Well, for a dwarf, I guess recent. For halfling professors, I don't know. He kind of looks old. Nah, I'd say maybe 10, 20 years back.
All right.
The
The
Direption.
other car's probably safe. Should we just hang out there?
No, it went missing because we think that somebody fucked around with their ward stones. You see, there are things that are out there.
Well, a train named Derision seems like a rather doomed name for a train. Something like the Cactus Express, on the other hand. I hardly think it plausible that we'll be in any danger.
I'm sure our luck is fine. All the same, maybe we should go back to the cattle
Not
farm.
derision, Direption. You got something wrong with your ears?
Yes, they're quite full of hair at this age. It's a bit annoying. Are the other cars any safer than this one, or is it?
It was an older model. You know, before we got these big ones. Before we got the juice.
Who?
Well, I'm gonna have to go up front to see if we got a spare. I don't think we got a spare, but we might have one.
I thought we were lucky.
All right.
You said the guards sent you back here?
To investigate some disturbance. There are lots of passengers that got on. It was a madhouse, the plague and all.
So halfling professor in the Fae, huh?
Hey, we were available. What can I say?
We're traveling scholars. He's quite famous in our own right.
Probably a bunch of rookies.
Oh, rookies, sir.
Green behind the ears.
Don't believe it's
I'm not going to know
green.
anything about a stone. You should just go straight to the source and see if they've got one.
Yeah.
Just boss them around. You look official. We, on the other hand, look like civilians.
Is the bounty hunter taken care of? And the bandits? Are they still on the train?
Taking care of the bandits. The bandits are subdued.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'll go talk to the chief engineer. See if we got a spare. Stick it right in. You two don't goes nowhere now.
We'll just wait back here.
I'll be right back. Rufus! Roof. Go home, buddy. Go home.
I'm gonna fly.
Sorry, does he call him Rufus?
Yep.
Someone is coming.
Okay. The dog's name is actually Rover, though.
Is it really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, dog, go back there.
What did I name you?
Well, you think a dwarf, how many dogs a dwarf would go through? That a dwarf could live like 400 or 500 years. Dogs would almost be like, oh shit, yeah, Rover the Seventh. He looks one more. He looks one more time. Is the professor invisible or not?
No,
Okay.
He's not.
Okay.
Guys,
Not the
the
Halo
engineer is coming through. Just stay out of the way and let him do his job. Yes.
He pauses for a moment and sees.
Roger. I know we're in an animal cart, but what's with all these animals?
He's asking Pharisee.
It's
The Ferris just looks at it.
It's a mildly racist thing to say about like the inherited races, like calling the monkey people a monkey, you know, is
Oh, all right.
Bounty hunters. What can I say?
Bounty hunters. Oh. Are those the bandits?
The korred there is a bandit,
The
and
Ferris
there's a corpse back here.
Oh,
hits him a little with his staff.
that's a
The
fine.
the bandit on the ground.
That's a fine beard. I think I had a korred barber once.
Yes,
Pretty
most
unique
of the
beard.
korred are very nice. These three were scoundrels. What can I say?
A beard barber, of course. You know, on the counter.
Oh, sure.
Can Son professionally evaluate the dwarf's beard? Like the quality of the makeup?
you can make an appraise for his beard and his tattoo if you want.
Would that really be in the price? I'm not looking for like a price here. I'm looking for like the quality. Is that still in the price check?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, how much do you
Okay.
pay for it? Yeah.
Alright.
How intricate is it?
Hold on.
Although barbering is close to heel, you could make a heel check for his.
Okay. Yeah, I feel comfortable with that. So, alright. 26.
Yeah, he takes care of his beard. He's got all sorts of like beard rings in it. His beard rings are silver, not the most expensive of jewelry, but there is a lot of work that goes into keeping a beard that fine. And the tattoos on his head, somebody who knew what they were doing made those tattoos. They also likely mean something.
I comment on that. Specifically the beard. Like, nice. You know. So I don't actually know anything about beards. It's, you know, might be obvious. But the character Son presumably does. So he comments on an aspect of the beard, with a term about the beard that's nice, that I, the player, know nothing about.
Baldness from my mother's side, my beard from my father's.
Nice.
He reeks of whiskey. now that he's talking to you, he's looking around at everything. He doesn't seem to be in a big hurry.
Fair enough.
Alright, so you're bounty hunting and you caught them
Yep.
and they stole the stone?
Not this one.
Well, which one?
The one that jumped off and stole the stone.
And we're in the ethereal. Damn it.
Not saying they were clever.
I'll go see if we got a spare. Chief engineer probably has a spare. He's sort of that kind of worrywart.
The drunk senior engineer who you awoke from the caboose is now just heading to the front of the train.
Son makes a mental note that, you know, Branch might be surprised. But then he makes another mental note that Branch is never actually surprised. So he turns back to Brack. And I guess to Zephyros. It's like, we should probably interrogate him. Do you know of a good way to torture whatever the fuck these things are called? Faye? Really? I mean, he is Faye.
Well, you do know that they do not like cold iron.
Is it just touching? Is it already hurting?
It's something that Son has never explored or had the opportunity to do.
Son explores.
You know that if they have DR Cold Iron, they are. What system are they using to have the map up there? The system is Pathfinder 1E. We are using a tool called Map Tool that can be found at rptools.net, I believe. It will probably be very irritating to the touch, and the toughness of his skin will be counteracted by the cold iron itself.
Okay, but also he's gagged.
He's gagged, got a bag over his head. He's manacled with his arms behind the bar. He has suffered a wound from Zephyros's scythe. I think a little bit of spell damage and arrow, and has been shocked. So he's
multiple times.
Yeah, he's unconscious but stable, and it looks like it'll take him a while to wake up.
Yeah, he's not in a state to answer questions, regardless of how nicely we ask.
Okay, so what are you guys doing?
The guards should be back soon. We either have to continue lying or disappear. I don't think that drunk fellow would much notice if we were gone.
Good guy, by the way.
Did we sneak onto this train? Sorry, I wasn't here in the previous game, so did we sneak onto the train? Or
the train did not go into Bostera Station. It stopped about an hour outside of Bostera Station because people were trying to escape the Blood Veil, which had infected several hundred people in Bostera Town, and it looked like many people...
like anything?
Timely. And so you saw a group of people sneaking out at daybreak and heading towards the train, and you guys decided to aboard the train as stowaways. You haven't been discovered yet. You were discovered by Oogway, who apparently paid his way, to get onto the train. You haven't really interrogated him on that. So you guys haven't been caught yet. Well, the drunk dwarf senior engineer knows you're back here, but he thinks you're all back here.
If we make our way into the
legitimately,
other car,
yeah.
We could conjure perhaps some boxes to all stand within, and we could observe whether or not he comes back with a spare.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a serious problem. I'm honestly a lot more interested in torturing this dude. You said cold iron would work?
Not a serious problem for the engineer.
I have a ticket. What are they going to do? Throw us off into the ether?
At this point, you guys hear something in the back car, the car that you just came from, the cargo car. At first, you thought it might have been just the dog making some noise, but now you heard something hit the top of the car, boom, and some weird kind of claw walking noises, kind of like.
I turn back to the professor.
We have company! I will say as I move away from the door.
Oh my.
We may want to be in a more defensible cart.
Lucid Cake. Lucida Cake, thanks for the sub. Welcome to the channel. Let us know if you have any questions. There's lots of material to go through on YouTube, and yes, I'm behind in the uploads for this campaign, but we've got at least 6 other campaigns that have probably over 200 episodes at this point. Yeah, I will get to it. Don't worry. Yeah, there's something. There was something. You get this. You get the sense that there's something large, and it's screeched in this horrible screech.
So I was like, oh fuck, it's my ex. Run.
I was about to ask you, Son, did you invite anybody? Are you expecting anybody? Or is this an unpleasant surprise?
Everyone's kind of like snapped and stopped what they're doing and is just looking backwards. You don't hear the dog. Whatever the metal pounding was is stopped.
We don't hear whining either. We never heard like a screech or a
You don't. Actually, you do now hear the dog. The dog probably heard this, and you can hear him barking.
I will.
Wait, there's a dog back there?
Yep.
I will spell Recall Vanish and cast it and go invisible because the professor is terrified.
You could actually see the dog. The dog is running around looking up and is barking. He's got up on one of the crates and is barking at the ceiling.
I tried to call the dog over. No.
Your son's going to try to handle animal, like get the excited dog to come over. Feeling sorry for the dog or feeling that if the dog's in danger?
Mostly that. I meant to ask you, Marty.
Mm-hmm.
Rangers have wild empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Does that affect us?
So you could wild empathy can be used on untrained animals. This dog is a domesticated dog, so you could use handle animal or wild empathy. Either or.
How does wild empathy work?
Wild empathy is similar to handle animal. It can change the... Effectively, it's a diplomacy check against an animal.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's a d20 roll plus your level plus, I think, charisma. It would be your ranger.
There's like a ranger level.
Yep. So I would let you use either your wild empathy or your handle animal. Okay, so you're like, come here, boy, come here. 11.
Call back on Pixel.
The dog is too excited at this point. It didn't even hear you. Like you're trying to yell from that train away. There's too much noise. It's on to something. It senses something.
Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are about to be in a fight.
Pixel's doing what? Sorry.
I cast callback on Pixel.
Oh, which kind of pulled her back?
No, so if she does take damage at this point on, she'll teleport back to me.
Ah, okay. Yay, autumn, she says, kind of spinning around your head and then nestling down on your shoulder as she doesn't want to get too far away from you yet. Oh, is there something happening? Mocker Nom kind of wakes up on Zephyrus' shoulder. A little eye stalk kind of comes out of the living bag.
Yes.
There's something back there. I think it's on the top.
I'm not sure this cart is the most defensible. We may want to get out of this foyer.
How much time has passed in the previous fight?
You guys have poked around. You had a discussion, probably around 20 minutes.
Okay, so hours are still up. Danes perhaps are still up as well.
Yeah, 20 minutes. If you're casting them, they're not out of an item. Your 10-minute per levels are still up. Your minute per levels are down.
The car behind us has a platform the whole way around. A bit dangerous to fight there, I'll say as I continue to back up down this hallway.
We perhaps should move back, says Ugwe.
Yeah.
Yes, we should get perhaps back into the cattle car or trap it in this front entryway.
Son nods, waves to the frilled surprise.
Yeah, the frilled surprise is like your trained animal, so it just climbs up onto your shoulder.
Yeah. But then Son basically goes like this way and tries to call the dog back.
Okay, so you hop across the trains. At this point in time, you actually see these doors. Like something is trying to open the doors. They are moving in their in place. Like something is really rattling the outside of the door. Something strong is trying to come through. The dog is growling at the door and barking at the door. So you're gonna, now that you're a little bit closer, you're trying to like, hey Poochie, come this way. You heard him being called Rover.
Well, it wasn't actually Rover, but yes. Yeah, call him again. And the other thing I want to do is I want to cast Owl's Wisdom.
Okay, so as you moved over, you cast Owl's Wisdom, and then you're gonna try to coax the thing over.
Yep.
What is everyone else doing for 2 rounds?
2 rounds.
Sephiroth is casting Mirror Image on himself.
Okay.
I just need to check what my role has to be here because it's been a while.
Uwe looks to Pharisee. What is it?
Oh, I will cast haste on the party while we're all pretty. I'll probably try and get
Okay.
Strong wings.
That happened, we'll say, just before San ran to the other side. So, San, you are included in the haste. What is it?
I don't know. Something from out in the mists, I suppose.
One of these outsiders, he says, like a word that you've just taught him.
Perhaps. Maybe there was a very, very big dog back in the caboose as well. What do you think?
He is going to recast Cat's Grace. His the femur bone that's floating around him, I believe, is still around.
Probably, yeah.
Defending bone, I think, has a...
I think that's ours.
Yeah. Defending bone, 1 hour per level until discharged. Yeah, it's still around. Okay. And then he just backs away a little bit.
I will put
His sword is still not out. His katana is still in its sheath. His hands on the pommel, though.
I'll light a candle. I'm just looking to see which ones I have left and put it on the ground in front of me.
Okay, so you're letting... What is it?
I'm looking to see...
Is it one of the Balbodnothep candles?
Yeah, I think it is a teacup size one?
It's like a tea candle.
Yeah, teacup size one. Yeah, and I will leave it in the floor in front of me.
Okay, so you've got a little candle
There
that
is
you...
a strange ghostly light emanating from a candle now on the floor with no professor to be seen.
Nice. And Pixel is frightened, and the Frilled Surprise is just waiting. Okay, San, this is the last action of the 2 rounds that you guys have. You're trying to call the dog over again. Give me another handle animal. The DC is 15. Okay, the dog... there's kind of like a pound. Like when you start making noise, there's something punched the metal door and actually impacted it. And that scared the dog, and then the dog comes running towards you as... No, not the dog. There's something around the corner. There's something that punched the side of the door that is speaking in some infernal tongue.
Can I hear it from where I'm at?
Yes, it is deep, it is dark, and it is scary.
Could I cast comprehend languages?
First, let me see if you understand what it did actually say before you cast the spell.
I've been trying to learn Infernal for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
But do you remember that fact?
Yeah, it's been, I think, 2 levels I've been trying to learn Infernal. One level I've been trying to learn Abyssal as well.
Okay. So you don't know Abyssal or Infernal. Are there any other languages from the Fell Realms that you do know?
What is it? Language of the Dead, but I don't know if that gets me anywhere. Or Hyonkwani, perhaps.
You know Hadean?
No. That's on my list of to learn.
Okay, give me a linguistics check. This will allow you to. This will allow you at least to understand what language he's speaking.
Okay.
Can I assist him with that? No, because we're in combat, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Actually, I'll let you assist him. You guys are standing right beside each other, and if the professor says out loud, I wonder what language that is.
Yeah, I will be mumbling about it. 33?
It is a mixture of Hadean and something that sounds like giant, but is more ancient than giant.
Well, I speak giant, so I know that it sounds like giant.
It is like the precursor language to giantish.
So is there gibberish that I can perhaps understand? Like maybe every fourth word or something like that?
33 was the whatever it is, it's hostile.
Okay.
Are we going in an initiative order after I sort of realize what the language is with Sephiroth's help?
Round 3, what are you guys doing?
I'll get in a comprehend languages.
Okay, the professor, I need to know! With a drive to know instead of defending himself with spells.
Like, listen, Siri, I need this.
That makes sense. That's very
Yes. So the professor, hiding his invisibility, casts a spell. The thing is not talking right this second, but you'll be able to catch what he's saying. Okay, that's the professor. What is Zephyrus doing in this third round?
I'm just checking what he should cast. I think, can he just delay for a little bit? Just do somebody else first?
Yep. Oogway sees that you guys are all casting spells and are very worried. So Oogway is going to cast a shield spell on himself. His sword is still in his sheath. His hand is now shifted from the pommel to the actual handle, though, and his knuckles. You can actually hear the leather kind of twist Pharisee as he's white knuckling his katana. The Frilled Surprise just kind of hopping around, doesn't realize how like much danger there is, if there is danger.
The Frilled Surprise is very dumb. I love it.
It's a dumb lizard, man. It's chasing a bug right now, trying to zap it. Pharisee, yeah, everyone's hasted, so you're
on Pixel.
What are you doing on Pixel?
Mirror image.
Look
familiar, so
nice. There's a bunch of little pixels running around. She does a bunch of pirouettes.
Zephyrus casts blur on himself.
Okay.
There's going to be a fight, isn't there?
Yes, I suspect so. And with my blur and my mirror image, I think it's going to be difficult to hit me.
Where did the thing come from?
Magic. I have no idea.
Oh.
He's here. Play yourself.
Should I be afraid?
No, but I think you might need to be a pot or some piece of furniture that stays out of the fight.
I know.
I think this is a magical fight.
I will be a bag.
And he doesn't change forms. his eye stalks go back into his bag-like form, and he just hangs heavily on your shoulder. But your shoulders bear the brunt of that weight gladly. Son, what are you doing with the dog? The dog is now following you. You've convinced it to it comes over and licks your fingers and is kind of jumping up at you, and it whines a little bit as it looks back, and its tail is tucked between its legs. It's afraid of something.
Moving this way.
Okay.
As far as I can.
Well, you are hasted, so your movement rate is plus 30, so you could move 60 and 60 if you want. The dog's movement rate is 40, so it could move 80 feet away.
Well, dog isn't hasted, though.
Nope, but it has a 40-foot move, so a double move is 80.
Oh, right.
You could move
so
100 and...
Here, and dog, I guess, will just keep in front of me.
Okay, so you're pulling the dog along, and it's running after you. Professor, you can hear.
Oh, and I take a bow like off my shoulder. I pull out an arrow.
Silly little mortals. Riding your tin can.
And you can hear what sounds like an axe or a blade being dragged across the outside of the train, kind of with this high-pitched screech.
It is time for me to feed.
And you can hear something like high-pitched and much smaller, kind of going...
Yes. What souls will we find? What souls will we capture?
San, you're the last one to kind of exit. You got the sense that this thing was moving along the sides. You can't quite see it, but you get the sense that there's something really close by, Pharisee and Uguay. Whatever it is, it's bad.
Yeah, I do have See and Viz still up. That was 10 per level, and I popped it in the earlier combat.
Yep, same here.
So if it ends up helping. But, yeah.
You can see a weird light. It is similar to the light that flashed from the ward stone when it was broken. This one seems to be sort of more like a haze. And there's this annoyed growl coming from the creature. The burning haze seems to be coming from the same direction as the creature. Just around the corner there, Pharisee. You could just not... You know something's there, you just don't know what it is. With the light that is surrounding it, though, there is a bit of a shadow, and whatever it is, it has long... dark wings behind its back, very, very sharp-looking teeth, a strange helmet, and blades in his hands, or its hands.
The other car?
It has a tongue that is long and lashing outside of its head like that of a
Or are we making a stand?
snake.
If we're making a stand here, I suggest we get out of that front room and get ready to fill it with fireballs.
Okay, I think now is the time we call for initiative. I'm going to go to the combat sheet. I'm going to add...
Rolling for us, or do you want us to roll?
I will roll for you guys, because it's the quickest. Uguay is in there, and I'm going to add the tar-blooded titanspawn.
I'm gonna blow my heightened awareness for +4 on this roll.
Okay. Add that into temp, please.
I did.
And this thing's initiatives +9.
Not bad.
I'm going to add train. Just all the other people on the train. They're going to go basically at the end of the round.
Trains keep us together, running in the shadows.
Professor bursts into song. I think that's it. He's gone.
We'll call it Luke's part.
Nothing left.
Okay, I'm going to remove Tech from the initiative because he's not here, and I'm just going to remove Balmut for now. Let me sort this. The tar-blooded titanspawn gets to go first, then it's Pharisee, Uguay, Professor, Mockernum, Zephyros, the train gets a 1, and then... So San, then the train.
Well, who shall be the first?
this thing, lithe, toothy creature with jet black skin that looks like it's made from living tar that oozes and drips. Its long claws clasps around two ornately beautiful but deadly looking short blades. It has a helmet that is somehow blocking its eyes. It might have different types of senses, or might not have eyes in places that are normal to a creature. Its great bat vampiric looking wings are horrible to behold as they kind of shudder and flap behind it. He doesn't have shoes. He has more like claws, almost like talons. This creature is not of this world, and the way it's talking, Professor, it seems like you're its prey. It simply walks around here, kind of dragging the sword along the side of the train. The sword is biting deep into the regular metal of the train, meaning his swords might be either highly magical or not made of steel, or both.
Seems to be hunting us.
There is a kind of white energy, kind of bluish, that is sparking in front of him. He snorts an annoyance at it. He's dripping, like his skin is dripping blobs of this weird tar substance, and he lashes out in front of himself, like he's testing the barrier. He moves around the corner and then is going to cast a spellcraft check.
I'm on it.
I have a plus 17, I think. What do you have?
Probably something around there.
Alright, so I can
18.
automate.
Yeah.
Well, I have to roll as well because we're in battle.
Yeah.
29.
23.
Okay, he just cast, or it just cast a Dispel Magic.
Ooh.
And he's trying to dispel the ward on your car.
Ah, nice, nice.
You can see his magic kind of pulses into the barrier, and it looks like it was trying to eat away like this barrier that is revealed as his disruptive magic is being pushed into it. It reaches all the way to Oogway and to Pharisee before the barrier absorbs his dispelling attempt.
Perhaps we should try to shoot at him from this side of the barrier before he gets through. Yes.
His two blades in annoyance swipe together. He basically belched a dispel magic without using his hands.
Do we know if we can shoot at him from where we are?
You might be able to shoot through the doorway. You see at his belt there are these wiggling things. They look like horrible tadpoles that have been clamped to his belt. There are 3 of them along one side and 3 of them along the other. I'll give you a token for the tadpoles. What are these things called?
Yeah, the sound effects are excellent. That's always fun.
Oh, fuck, what is that monster called? They are...
What is this? Simon the Sea Monster? Simon and the
I
Sea
think
Monster?
you've summoned them before.
Oh, those little guys? Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. Cacodemon?
Cacodemon, thank you, yes.
Oh, nice, nice.
He's got
makes
six.
sense.
He's got 6 miniature cacodemons. Professor, you know this because you've summoned them before.
Whoa! I have no recollection of that. Mark.
Oh, right. You know you can't. You know you can summon them.
Yeah, I've seen them around.
Seeing them around.
Yeah.
So we'll call them evil tadpoles. They're not actually this big, although that's diminutive size. I'll just put 6 of them on the board to represent the 6 that are on his belt.
I don't even know these assholes.
He's now kind of striding, like stalking, like he can't or doesn't want to come into the train. He's rubbing his swords together that are sparking as he kind of slices them together, kind of like somebody like. You get the sense like where people do that thing with the fork and knife before they eat. Yeah, that is his turn. This thing is frightening and it doesn't even look concerned about what you guys could throw at it. Pharisee, what are you doing?
I think we ruled that Haunting Mist has to spread from me.
I believe if it says range 0, then it does.
It says range 30.
Oh, give me a second. That might be the haunting.
And then range. It might be range. What is range? Oh, sorry, range 20, and then it's a 20-foot spread.
Yeah, I think fog has a similar.
Range 20, cloud spreads in a 20-foot radius, 20-foot high. Yeah, I think it. It says in the spell it arises around you. Yes, so that's.
Yeah. That's why we rolled it that way.
Yep.
So I'm going to walk over to here and cast it.
Okay.
Because I love Haunting Mists.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay, a bunch of mists rise out of the back end of this car of the train. It's kind of roiling at the back door that is open. There are what look like shadowy eels, if you look really closely inside the mist, moving around. I believe you are immune to your own haunting mist, but those that are caught inside of it are not. So Oogway needs to make a will save, is it?
We brought our own. Yes, it's going to be a will save. The DC is...
He fails.
Okay.
And the frilled surprise has a +2 will save. DC 18 probably fails.
So Oogway takes 1d2 wisdom damage. 2! Yay! Is that what everyone who fails takes? Because Pixel actually is going to need to roll as well.
Yep. We'll just roll once per round, or...
Sounds good.
Shield.
Let's see what Pixel's got here.
Oh no, the eels!
27.
No problem. She's dodging the eels. But they're not real! Oogway, by his snarl, you could tell he may think the eels are real.
Yeah, so he's also shaken. That's all I can do. Pixel's going to stay near me.
Okay. Oogway is...
I can both see through mist, because we've got the mist sight.
Oogway backs away from this. He is going to... you might want to be on the other side of the bars, friend. He says that to Zephyros.
And now he's not shaken.
Okay.
As soon as he leaves the mist, he's...
Yeah, we've seen this before. You know what he's doing.
Oogway is going to cast a mirror image on himself for 4 images. Professor.
I have a question. So I've just lost line of sight on this thing because of the mists.
Yes, you can only see about 5 feet in.
I did a spellcraft check and saw him try to dispel the magic on this car before. Would I, if I had a dispel magic wand in my hand, could I try and counterspell his dispel magic without being able to see him and just doing it based on the like auditory components he's doing?
Give me a second.
And also, like, what is the range to counterspell?
So without additional feats, you do need to ready an action to counterspell.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make a spellcraft check to identify the spell.
Okay.
Although with dispel magic, you can always try to dispel.
But I'm using dispel magic as like the counter
No,
spell.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying
spell prepared.
yes.
Which would
which would counteract the spell, but if you got it wrong, like if he cast another spell and you didn't identify it properly, you could still have a chance to get rid of the spell. So
yeah, okay, because it's hitting it with a dispel.
yeah, you can do this as long as you can hear him. And you identify the spell properly. It will be harder without seeing him in his gestures, what few there were. But yep.
Yeah, I'll quick draw the wand of dispel magic, and I will ready an action to try and use it as a counterspell here. And I will say, I'll try and hold him out, but again, I believe we should be shooting him from this side of the barrier while it lasts.
Okay, so
We
you're.
can't see
you
him.
weaken him.
We can't shoot him if we can't see him.
Yeah, I mean, aim in the general area, perhaps, with maybe something red and fiery.
Son looks back at the professor, doesn't say anything.
All right, Mokranam is just hiding on Zephyrus's back. Zephyrus, what are you doing?
Can Zephyrus figure out how to get a small little pea to traverse from where he is out onto the next car?
You have 10 feet reach, so you could basically put your hand out this door and then fire down the hallway. So you can see through the two doors. You know where the two doors are. You could throw one down there. I'm gonna say because you can't see what you're firing through and you're kind of around the corner, you do have to make an attack roll. If you roll a 1, I think your bab's high enough. If you roll a 1, you might miss.
All right, so a d20. 11.
No problem. You've already been in that train. You're familiar with it. You kind of almost close your eyes and sort of concentrate, and then throw the pea through the doorway, and it explodes so that it misses Pharisee and hits the creature. All right, now there's a gauntlet of rolls that need to happen here.
Okay.
First one is to get through the creature's spell resistance. Keep in mind that you have the third eye, which gives you a +2 sacred bonus to your SR checks, and I believe you also have spell penetration, and your staff increases your caster level for evocations by 1. So you've got a +5 to this roll on top of your level, if I remember correctly.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
So it's +5. So this is a 1d20. How do I calculate this?
Caster level.
7 plus 5.
Yeah.
So it's 1d7 plus 7 plus 5. Okay. 1d20 plus 12. 25.
You hear the creature roar in pain.
Nice. This is pretty good.
He gets a 27 on his reflex save.
Okay.
He rolled well.
So the DC is 17 plus spell level plus 2. So yeah, he makes it. So
Okay. He takes half.
he takes half of, and I need to go to my fireball.
Which should be 8d6 plus
Is it 7? Oh yeah, 8d6.
something? Plus 3?
No, it's just d6. Oh, hold on. Plus, because this is an evocation spell, it's +3.
Okay.
So it is 8d6 +3. Why is it 8d6, not 76? I get something. I get at a higher level. For some reason.
Your new staff increases your
right,
caster level for spells, evocation spells.
Even if I'm not casting them out of my spell, out of